thousands of people here in the stands, and there are millions of people on television, and everyone looking and always speculating. I want you to be proud of your profession. It's a great profession. You be proud of this game, and you can do a great deal for football today. Great deal for all the players in the league and everything else. Go out there and play this ball game like I know you can play it.
The same three words always come out when I look at it. We did it. We did it.
Steelers are the champions of the National Football League for the fourth time.
We are the Bears, shuffling crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would. You know we're just strutting for fun, strutting our stuff for everyone. We're not here to start no trouble, we're just here to do the Super Bowl.
Back to throw Montana, steps up, throws.
And you must have a kicker who can come through when everything is on the line.
To really inhale this.
I give him like 3 days, and he's gonna be back
and enjoy this.
3 days.
I'm gonna go get the biggest cheeseburger you've ever seen. Prime, the biggest one, and might be a double.
And welcome back, everybody. Here, the Show Blitz that's presented by the Men of Steel podcast. It is once again Happy Super Sunday has rolled upon us right now. Here, it will be the 60th edition here of the Super Bowl. And it will be taking place for the second time, hosted in San Francisco at Levi's Stadium, as it will be the 11th rematch all time, this time with the Seattle Seahawks versus the New England Patriots. I am Charles the Prodigy Richey. Once again, you can follow me on X at Men of Steel CGR and on Instagram at Men of Steel Nation. Definitely been once again off to the side doing some other projects. It's been pulling me left and right. You normally see me before in the past covering the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I still do. It's just been a while, just crazy last few months. Had to get some stuff. I did not want to miss out on this Super Bowl coverage edition here for today's game. And then more or less, too, I want to just start off in just a moment here, but to give my thoughts, which I have not shared on any video posts, but have slightly shared some reactions off to the side I may have said on X about the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin finally raising his hands up in the air and just saying he's done. He's right now concentrating on family and supposedly his health, as recently mentioned by Jay Glazer, and who actually retires being tied with the most regular season wins with Chuck Noll, 193. He does go out with 201 career victories, which includes 8 in the playoffs. And then now a new era right now, we shall see. Not necessarily a younger coach, surprisingly, what they did in the past with hiring younger, but you got a guy right here, and Mike McCarthy right now. We'll see what he could do right now here, who has one of the most decorated resumes ever as a head coach, being for one of the most 3 premier franchises all time in the history of this league. Of course, starting off with Green Bay and the Packers back in 2006, and then going on to the Dallas Cowboys in 2020, and now his hometown where he grew up in Pittsburgh, just like Bill Cowher, who grew up in Crafton, Pennsylvania, I want to say it was, when he got the job at 34 years old in 1992. Mike McCarthy, he's in the 60s right now, early 60s. Right now, putting together a heck of a coaching staff so far. Definitely the house cleaning on that. We'll see how that comes to fruition. And also give them my thoughts, too, about what I feel, if it's going to be a good fit or not for Aaron Rodgers to be pairing with Mike McCarthy and stay on one more year. I did anticipate throughout the year when watching this past season that it would not surprise me if Aaron Rodgers decided to give it another go and come back for another year. He's definitely had a good stint with this year. Definitely took a step back. Won over a lot of the veterans so far in the locker room, but there's still little things he did along the way, perception wise. I think in the media, people would still question and take a harder look at him. But we'll get into that in just a moment. As once again, this is Super Bowl Sunday right now. And I don't know about you, but before we go any further, I know this has been floated around as an idea. I heard Dan Patrick and a few others too mention it before in the past. I know the league, and especially Roger Goodell and all the owners, are pushing, especially primarily too, with Robert Kraft, who, by the way, just fell short of being voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just like his head coach, who he hired, and Bill Belichick, but says he does feel like they're going to try and have an 18-game schedule soon. They're going to try and make it and have international games played every year. But right now, it's still not totally what the players are embracing. But I will say this. So the obsession is where I'm getting to, is trying to have this end on President's Day weekend. Now, I mean, how's that going to work? I mean, if they do this, I think one of the things we have to look at right now, and what I think could happen, how do we make this a holiday where it's a recognized national holiday? I think, and like I said, with Dan Patrick, like I mentioned, do they dare have the guts and play on a Saturday? So that way, if you haven't played on a Saturday instead of a Sunday, that way it could be their half-assed way of saying, well, this is in a way like a holiday, because guess what? Most people could still, like us, have fun. Most people are probably more hanging out you would on your weekends on a Saturday night than you would a Sunday evening right there, getting together with drinks, friends, working out, whatever the case may be. You can have that Sunday right there for where we feel vast majority of workers across our country and our world, we get time to have like a hangover day right there. So that'd be like a Super Bowl holiday right there. And then day after that, President's Day. Now, will they have the framework to convince the players right there too? I mean, like even Aqib Talib, who on the Arena Gridiron, very good smoking hot podcast right there. I'm glad to see Skip Bayless too, still doing his speaking his voice. I mean, sharing his thoughts, his takes, his opinions, debates. Keeps on bringing it. I love that man right there. I mean, agree or disagree with him, the craziness that he's done over the years, the controversies he's surrounded himself in, is how he's parted off ways with former co-hosts or pissing off some athletes along the way. But still, he's still got enough street cred and credibility for doing this a long damn time, and for what he's doing right there. And I believe this Monday, I'm not too sure, I believe it's going to be their last show. Haven't got a chance to look into it, but it's definitely been a joy to like listen throughout this last 6 months right now on YouTube. Thanks in part to Gilbert Arenas for pairing up Skip Bayless. You have guys on there right there. The main host is Kinsey. Then you got Aqib Talib, a former Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos. Then, of course, you got Richey Incognito, former offensive lineman who also played with the Buffalo Bills. Backup quarterback Cody Kessler, who came from USC, then to the Cleveland Browns. Of course, Gerald McCoy, who's had an excellent career, to say the least, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a defensive tackle, I believe it was. But that is definitely an awesome show right there. But like I said, I mean, like Akiva was even saying too, I mean, like he does not seem to mind playing an extra game. I know there's still a lot of pushback. How do you like really find a way to convince that you really do care about player safety in this? I mean, think about it. But at the same time, too, you gotta think salaries will be going up. I mean, you're gonna be getting an extra game check. So is it really worth it right there? The only thing I would just ask, and they still insist on keeping the preseason games, 2 games right there. And the only other concern would too be raised, will they have 2 bye weeks? Now, the last time the NFL has ever did 2 bye weeks in one season, you have to go back 33 years ago from this coming season, back in 1993. And that right there, which, by the way, was a significant year right there. I mean, that was the first year that free agency began in the league right there for the National Football League. I mean, one of the most famous signings, of course, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got Kevin Green signing over there. But the big one who made the biggest splash, who was looking to get paid more too, and they've been struggling with this too for years, going back into the 80s, where there's 2 work stoppages, including the recent one back in 1987, during that decade, recent one I should say. But Reggie White, who started off his career right there, his first 8 seasons as a Philadelphia Eagle, playing in Gang Green, only signed with the Green Bay Packers right there. And y'all know the story about that, how Mike Holmgren heard, because, Reggie White, the late Reggie White, God rest his soul, always loved speaking his mind, preaching about what's going on in the Bible and applying it to real life, where it was like sex, racism, or stuff like religion. I mean, just a wonderful human being, though. Now, there's some stuff he said, strong stuff. I'm not going to get into this on this podcast here, but I think he's definitely one of my favorite defensive players of all time. When you look at the history of this league, a lot of people as well. But that was just a significant year. Like I said, free agency just began that year. And also, which proved to be significant later on that year, too, yes and no, but it did come back. CBS, towards the end of the year, they found out they were losing their contract, and that Fox was going to take over right there under Rupert Murdoch, who Barry Jones was one of the master geniuses about getting a better distributor to display their games. CBS would only hang off on the sidelines for 4 seasons before returning back 5 years later, back in 1998. And by the way, too, 1993 also, too, historic lesson, too. Now, you look at the Super Bowl right here, when it first started off, for the first 28 of them. And the cool history, don't forget it, because we're going to be coming up this summer how the merger was agreed upon. Now, remember, when the AFL once upon a time, I'm sorry if I'm going on a long-winded rant, please excuse me if I'm losing anybody here, but remember, back in 1960, 6 years out before the merger even happened, you had finally a league that was able to try and challenge the NFL. There was other leagues that tried. They failed the All-American Football Conference, which is where the likes of San Francisco 49ers, which, by the way, their field, their site, their venue is hosting this game, and the Cleveland Browns, notable teams right there who came from out of there, came to the NFL. I mean, that league fell short, so they eventually joined their league. But you finally have the American Football League from owners who wanted to be owners of the National Football League, got rejected, get up their own teams right there. I mean, you look at it right there, from that perspective. And, the Kansas City Chiefs, no doubt about it, were one of the biggest guys. And Lamar Hunt, who was able to partner up with Bud Adams, they were able to get their own football teams together, too, and create their league. Now, it was a struggle definitely for the first 4 or 5 years, too, but until they finally got a contract in 1965 where they're able to help, cover stadiums and struggling for, signing the top players. Drafts were becoming too expensive. So finally, including a big guy like Joe Namath, who had a choice between the Cardinals or the Jets, and he actually had a chance to play for the Chicago Cubs, too, in baseball. He eventually chose the New York Jets, got one of the richest contracts, I believe it was over $450,000. But bottom line was this. Once that happened, it really pushed the needle further, where it put the American Football League on almost equal footing with the National Football League. You had the merger set up between right there with the Dallas Cowboys owner, Lamar Hunt, at the time. Tex Schramm, as a matter of fact, Lamar Hunt. Please excuse my mind's blanking here, but just thinking deep thought. But it would lead to the merger, which would officially unify in 1970. But The first 4 Super Bowls were still played between the AFL versus the NFL. AFL was broadcasting for NBC, which is where it's going to be on tonight, on tonight's game, which you can also stream on Peacock, by the way, and NFL Plus. And then the NFL had their games on CBS. So once the merger officially was totally recognized and teams switched over, like the Steelers, the Colts, and the Browns, for the teams to help even it out, were over the years, the AFC coverage, when the AFL where it started off as, was covered by NBC, while NFL/NFC, which it later became, was covered by CBS. CBS, like I said a few moments ago, they were in the last year in 1993, and once they returned back and Fox took over the NFC, and then NBC had about another 4-year run covering the AFC teams regularly before they lost their rights, their coverage in the 1998 season. So AFC coverage was now on CBS. So kind of flip-flopped. Yes and no, not really flip-flopped, but you get the point. AFC was now instead on CBS since 1998 for over 28 years now. And then NBC would eventually get back in the fold back in 2006 for Sunday Night Football. So there you go, some history right there. But like I said, I really can the NFL do an 18-game season with that? It's quite possible, but still, those are still cool historical perspectives. I'd like to get your thoughts real quick here. Now let's go into getting some interesting highlights right here too. I mean, the biggest stuff around here too right now, and I am going to finish later on with my thoughts on the Steelers change from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy. I will finish with that. But right now too, like I said, aside from the Q matchups right here, Mike Vrabel, he is looking to become the first ever coach to not only win a Super Bowl, but also as a head coach for the same team that he's played for in his career. Now, with that being said, he was still technically at the end of the day joined 2 other guys who were able to win it as both a player and a head coach. Iron Mike Ditka was the very first back with the 1985 Chicago Bears right there. They had one of the second most point differential in the Super Bowl era, smashing the New England Patriots 46-10. He would do that in 1985. Of course, he won a league championship with George Halas and the Chicago Bears, and then a Super Bowl as a player with the Dallas Cowboys, as well as an assistant here in the ring, too, in 1977 under Landry, and then returning back to head coach in 1982 until 3 years later. What was one of his famous speeches he said in front of the players? He said, like, gentlemen, I just want to let you know we're all going to be going to the dance. Unfortunately, I can't say that a lot of you guys are going to be here when we go to the dance, which is what they did in Super Bowl 20 right there. Finally rewarding a defense that was built up from ground up by Buddy Ryan right there, who was the father of the current Rex Ryan, who former coach of the New York Jets and now currently on ESPN Sunday NFL Countdown. But that was just some cool stuff right there as you look at it. The other one would be Tony Dungy. He won one as the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1978 before he went off into coaching like about 3-4 years later. He started off his coach career. I believe he started off with the Steelers later on, and then to the Minnesota Vikings. And then they get his first stint as a head coach of Tampa Bay Buccaneers before he was forced out the door after 2001. He finally gets a quarterback paired with Peyton Manning. It didn't take him until like his 5th season there to win a Super Bowl together at the cost of the Chicago Bears. And no disrespect, Chicago fans, please don't hate me for bringing this up, but that was just stating facts right now. No disrespect. But anyway, those would be the only 2 other people who'd be joining as guys who've been able to do it as a player and coach. Once again, Mike Ditka and Tony Dungy. The only difference is it was noted about 2 weeks ago during the CBS broadcast. I want to say by Tim Nance or someone from the CBS crew during the AFC Championship coverage that Mike Vrabel will become the first ever to coach and play during his entire football career for the same team to win Super Bowls. So if he does that, it'll be his fourth, with 3 being one as a player on defense, as a linebacker, and then 1 as a head coach, which would be pretty awesome. Mike McDonald, too, by the way, who's in his second season as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, remember, Mike McDonald right now, he was a former defense coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens for 2 straight seasons in 2022 and 2023. The highlight of their success was going as far as the AFC Championship game, which they lost 2 years ago to the Kansas City Chiefs in Baltimore right there. And he, right now, is doing a phenomenal job. The Seattle Seahawks, I'm just going to say this real quick. They were definitely talked about as a consistent team that could contend, especially the NFC. I never thought they were going to be this good right now when you look at it. The Seahawks right now, they got a lot of stuff to really say that can really make them a good threat right now. A lot of them is talking about like their defense, more particular right here. Yeah, pretty good defense front that could definitely force some turnovers here, or just get after the quarterback, create some pressures. You got right here on the Seahawks team. Brian Murphy and Leonard Williams, who, by the way, both are defensive tackles, and of course, Ukena, and I can't pronounce his last name. They get a chance, but all 3 of them have 7 sacks apiece. They have took on the quarterbacks 47 times this year. But, the biggest question right now, the elephant in the room right now, is Sam Darnold. You look at the Seahawks team right now as the way they perform. The biggest turnaround of the season was for the Rams blowing that 16-point lead that the Seahawks earned on Thursday Night Football back in December. And remember, it was a punt return for a touchdown right there. They converted the 2-point conversion to make it an 8-point deficit with about 7.5 to 8 minutes remaining in the ball game. And from there, they were able to force the game in overtime and win it in overtime. And the only thing is, I'm just holding my breath about the Seahawks. I know right now they are they're feeling it. They are right now, they are smelling it. The pot is boiling right now. If you're making the meal right now, just got to make sure it's not overflowing the pot. But, for the Seattle Seahawks, let's call it what it is right now. This team here, at the end of the day, the way their season finished out, beginning with that Los Angeles Rams, you got to go back. Actually, let me take that back. Let me take it a step further. The week number 12 right now, if you really want to be technical, they finished out the season on a 7-game winning streak and then 2 in the playoffs right there, which, by the way, in that 7-game winning streak to close out the season, they had 2 of which came against divisional opponents in the Rams and the 49ers. And you look at their last 3 games, it was back-to-back games versus San Francisco 49ers where they beat the Niners in San Francisco to clinch the division and the number 1 seed, and beat them down pretty good in the divisional round, 41-6. Then the NFC Championship game 2 weeks ago in Seattle. Now, they won that one 31-27, but still, here's the irony too. When you really think about the Super Bowl, let's think about this. 2 years ago, about this point in time, back in January, you had the Patriots and the Seahawks part with 2 long tenured great coaches in that organization. Think of beginning with Pete Carroll, who stepped down, and the Seahawks, they moved on. Bill Belichick being and Robert Kraft parting ways. You had Gerard Mayo take over for 1 season, did an abysmal job, which Robert Kraft, who a lot of people would say he groomed and had a lot of respect for Gerard Mayo as a player, career, but it just he could pass up a good hot ticket. Wanted to get good once again, and having the guy like Mike Vrabel. The Patriots. To their credit, for 4 of those 5 seasons were pretty bad. I mean, they only made the playoffs one time in Bill Belichick's remaining 4 seasons there. 2023 being his last. It made in 2021 where they lost pretty convincingly to the Buffalo Bills in the Super Wild Card round. But then you got a guy like Vrabes and Mike Vrabel, which, by the way, was NFL Coach of the Year, too, and did some tremendous work, too, with the Tennessee Titans, by the way. I mean, this guy right here, I mean, for his credit, I mean, working with his quarterback, as far as Ryan Tannehill right there, who was able to take him to some levels he hasn't seen before. I mean, this guy was a struggling quarterback. He was in his 8th season at that point in time. And then when they got paired up together, him and Mike Vrabel, this is, of course, with the Tennessee Titans here, by the way. Take a look at it. He joined them back in 2018. I mean, Tannehill, for example, I mean, he just did wonders with him. I mean, just looking at his career-wise, I mean, his completion percentage definitely was going way better right there. I mean, definitely threw for more touchdowns, and the reception ratio was a game more polished up. And his highest he did with the Tennessee Titans was got him to a number 1 seed back 4 years ago, which they lost in the opening round to the Cincinnati Bengals, or they sacked Joe Burrow relentlessly in that game, but it was still able to get back up. So let's go ahead and get into some quick keys here for this game right here as we look at it. I mean, for this matchup, for both the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Let's start off right now with the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, one of them looking on here, dominate with 4. Seattle has a top-rated defense that relies on Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams. The pressure DrakeMaye without blitzing him, allowing him to keep great coverage. Reason for that, because this will lead into the second point, in containing him. You saw what he did a couple weeks ago in Denver right there, in the Maye Stadium right there. Now, of course, I mean, you had Jarrett Stidham right there, had to fill in for Bo Nix, who had his postseason and season cut down tragically due to breaking his ankle towards the end of that game in overtime, which they edged out the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Jarrett Stidham did a pretty good job. It started off pretty good early, but then once the weather started getting sloppy and snowy, kept it very close. DrakeMaye did not look all that great either in that game. He had 2 turnovers in that game, and I mean, or not 2 turnovers, excuse me, but he definitely had a share of have a hard time passing in that, but he was able to use his legs. So I think just do that right there. That'd be one significant key right there for the Seattle Seahawks. Explosive plays and fast start. I mean, Rashid's speed for big plays right there. I think you'd also have to do it with a guy like Sam Darnold right now. I mean, you got former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp right there, who's on this team right there, who played for the Seattle Seahawks a year ago. And Cooper Kupp right now, he is still brings tremendous value and veteran knowledge, I mean, to this team right here. The guy who came off from playing his first 8 seasons with the Rams. Now his receiving yards may have went down a little bit, but I mean, when you got guys like around here too, like Jackson Smith and Jigba right here, I mean, definitely got to figure. I mean, he could arguably be a potential Super Bowl MVP candidate for tonight's game. If you really think about it, I mean, this Seattle Seahawks team is definitely looks really good here. I mean, Jackson Smith right now, he's definitely becoming one of the top deals right here. 1,793 yards catching, 10 touchdowns to add in for this team. I mean, he's leading the club almost in a runaway with touchdowns. The only guy that comes close to him is A.J. Barner, their tight end, who's got 6 touchdowns for the year. Now you look at what's going to be key for New England Patriots too for this team, for them to really put their mark on this game. I mean, right now, I mean, one of the biggest guys, I mean, you look at all year, I mean, had to probably think would be Stephon Diggs right here. I mean, who was definitely a huge Sergeant in Arms voice in that upset over the Buffalo Bills uh, back in week number 5, where they beat them 23-20 on Sunday Night Football in that game. But like I said, Drake Maye, who came very close to the almost stealing the MVP from Matthew Stafford, who had a phenomenal year for his sake. But I mean, Drake Maye, I mean, throughout the season, 31 touchdowns and 8 interceptions right here. And then also, too, I mean, you look at his weapons on this team right here. I mean, like his guys, you got right here for this team. I mean, yeah, Hunter Henry, who leads the team with 7 touchdowns, followed by Keyshawn Bote with 6, and then Stephon Diggs with 4. And for the most part, now their running game is okay. I mean, you got Trayvon Harrison, who's got 9 rushing touchdowns on the ground. But then where we go to is like the defense for this team. I mean, for the most part, I mean, they got right now Jalen Hawkins right now, who leads the club with 4 interceptions. So one of the biggest keys for the Patriots, of course, like I just mentioned, when we keep containing Drake Maye, you better make sure you protect him from that pass rush right there. Another thing is, too, more coverage on Jackson Smith and Jigba. Quarterback Christian Gonzalez must hold up in man coverage against wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba to prevent him from taking over the game. And then capitalize on turnovers, Patriots defense. So for this game, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. I really believe so. I know everyone's talking Seattle right now. I mean, a lot of times when you're picking these Super Bowls too, and I can understand the logic, you want to go with the team that's playing the hottest right now, the hot hand at the time. But in fairness, and I don't like saying this coming from a Steeler guy, but Robert Kraft definitely he does not like sitting around the sidelines for long, not wanting to win. And neither does the Seahawks ownership. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that 12th man fan base, phenomenal right there. But at the same time, too, they want to get that stench of like when Bill Belichick was able to convince Robert Kraft to, push Brady out the door, and Kraft pretty much allowed it. But at the same time, technically, too, Tom Brady was feeling pressure from Belichick, still had a tight relationship with Robert Kraft. He didn't think it was a good idea to like stay on anymore, and their relationship was just pretty much soured right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the New England Patriots in this game. I'm gonna go for this to be a low-scoring game. I'm gonna go give me New England Patriots 24 and the Seattle Seahawks 21. And your Super Bowl MVP in this one, for the most part, for the Patriots, as we look at it, I tell you what, I think you're going to probably look at, for this game, it's going to probably be Stephon Diggs. So I'm going to go with Patriots 24 and Seahawks 21. That'll be my pick, and Stephon Diggs, Super Bowl MVP, who will be the most recent receiver since Cooper Kupp did back in Super Bowl 56. Also, too, let's get into the NFL awards ceremony. Matthew Stafford, he edged out Drake Maye to win league MVP. Matt Stafford, who definitely had a well-decorated year, no question about it. I mean, throwing for his most highs and touchdowns ever in his career. Former Super Bowl champion. Never won Super Bowl MVP, but however, he did win league MVP, like I said, for the first time this season, late in his career, who for a guy who is in his 17th season right now, career highs and touchdown passes with 46 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, phenomenal job right there. I mean, threw for also, too, his 4th career highest in 4,707 yards. He had 5,038 yards from back in 2011, where he helped get the Lions into the playoffs as a wild card team. That was his 3rd season in the league. And this was about 3 years after that horrific winless season. But anyway, I mean, the guy who's a lot of people felt like he was stuck with a bad team, a very good quarterback on a bad team, needed to get out of that situation. He did his first season with the Rams. He helped bring home a Super Bowl for them in Los Angeles and for their hometown. So they got the job done right there. But Stafford, he received 24 first place votes to Drake's 23, with the final tally being 366 to 361 for Stafford. Justin Herbert also did receive a first place vote, which was surprising. Looked terrible in the opening round versus New England Patriots, who ate him alive. Also, too, this year's Pro Football Hall of Fame class, including Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Vinatieri, Luke Kuechly, and Roger Craig. And now I know a lot of the biggest headline over the last 2 weeks has been the outrage, the outcry of Bill Belichick being snubbed out of the Hall of Fame, along with Robert Kraft, who has been on there for well over a decade, but especially Bill Belichick. Listen, we know Bill Belichick by when you look at the win-loss record, the Super Bowls, he's got 8 total in his coaching career, 6 overall as a head coach, and then 2 with Bill Parcells in the Giants right there. But still, I think the biggest thing that it really doesn't surprise me that much, it still comes down to Spygate at the end of the day, unfortunately. I mean, when we're talking about like the voting, and the voting process is pretty shady, but at the same time, too, I can understand it where they're pulling a lot more character and integrity clause. And you got like the chairman of the Hall of Fame, he feels it should be the most deserving, more or less. And you still got a lot of guys who've been like on the senior ballot. Now, remember, for guys to be on a senior ballot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame voting, you got to at least retire for more than 25 years, which rules are like, well, not yet, but anyway, like aside from Roger Craig, L.C. Greenwood, I mean, when you're retired for more than 25 years, that's when they get put on the senior ballot. And there's, my knowledge, there's no limit on that. But definitely feel like Bill Belichick will get in next year. And now, which brings up to a big question right now. Ben Roethlisberger, who will be on the ballot. Let me say this. It's going to definitely be very close, to be honest, Joe. We know when he retired, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Now, he did have the allegations with women, the rape allegations. In one of them, he came to a settlement in court. This is according to one of the senior beat writers, Ed Bouchette, who's retired. He mentioned this like about 4 years ago. Another one, there was not enough evidence. But still, other than that, I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, he's got the numbers, touchdown reception ratio. The only thing I will just say about Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, he has made 1 second team All-Pro back in 2014. He was consistently good at getting his teams to the playoffs. But unfortunately, at the same time, too, he wasn't necessarily consistent in like big showdown games after those first 3 Super Bowl appearances. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this guy had phenomenal. This guy was just showtime on primetime stages. I mean, a guy who considered starting off under Bill Cowher. I mean, defense and run the ball. And you sort of see him start to come out like of the closet, like with developing into a better passer in Cowher's last year under Bruce Arians. And when it transitioned to Mike Tomlin, Bruce Arians would become the official coordinator, was only there for 5 seasons till Todd Haley took his game to the next level. Despite that, I mean, a lot of people keep saying, well, he's got 2 Super Bowl championships. Well, so does Eli Manning. But at the same time, Eli Manning has a career record of 500. Only street credit he gets is that he knocked off Tom Brady and Bill Belichick twice in Super Bowls, one for to deny them a perfect season, then in the Super Bowl rematch 4 years later. Ben Roethlisberger, if you look at the other names on here, Rob Gronkowski, automatic. Adrian Pearson, I will definitely choose on here. You got guys like Richard Sherman, Cam Newton, Antonio Brown, Alex Mack, Andrew Whitworth, Eric Weddle, Gerald McCoy, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Hayden, Malcolm Jenkins, Brandon Brooks, Dante Hightower, Ryan Kerrigan. All deserving right there. But if I'm going to give my vote, I'm going to go with Robert Gronkowski, Ben Roethlisberger, Adrian Pearson, and then I'm going to go Bill Belichick, and who knows, maybe Robert Kraft. But that'd be my vote for the Hall of Fame. But also, too, I just want to end real quickly on this podcast real quick. Mike Tomlin, too, who's been the Steelers coach right now for, I mean, I mean, for the most part, 19 seasons. Let me just once again say this. We all know the frustration ever since his last, Super Bowl right there. I mean, the guy who's finished off overall 8-12. I mean, for his career. I mean, for the most part. I mean, the guy has went like I believe it was 5-2 his first time. I mean, starting off, and then dramatically went to 3-10. I mean, listen, Mike Tomlin. I mean, when you look at, I mean, his first few seasons, especially after his first two Super Bowl appearances, I mean, like he started off great, but then after then, he just became a very damn good coach. Bottom line, at the end of the day, I mean, it was just a lot suspicious about him having too many yes men as coaches. I mean, he was stuck to his guns. He hasn't had a real good offense coordinator since Todd Haley, as we all know. I mean, and even still, I mean, the most incompetent offensive coordinator right there. I mean, they had in recent years. It was a few years ago. Man, Canada. Listen, Mike Tomlin. I mean, just his stubbornness to stick with a system that was hardly working. I really feel like the game just slowly passed him by. I mean, I'm thankful to having him, but at the same time, too, it just you just cannot keep going up this performance year in, year out. Keep saying you're playing for the confetti, but at the same time, too, your teams are falling way too short, and you're not even close. Now, a lot of people are definitely suspicious right there. I mean, it definitely feels like at some point he was being forced out. Not really, but I mean, Art Rooney did clarify that he did have a meeting with the locker room and pretty much just told him he wasn't good enough. And then we would hear reports later on about how he wanted to be concentrate more on his family and his health, wanted to be more of a dad. So, I mean, I even predicted too. I was one of many people that said in the past. I mean, maybe not necessarily on this podcast, but I was definitely from a distant. I always kept thinking that more than likely, I'm not so sure if he was going to be a guy to get right back into coaching. Probably just take a break and come back. But for right now, I mean, Mike McCarthy, yeah, guy right here, Pittsburgh grown, liking this fact he's doing cleaning house with the coaching staff. Yeah, I love that right there. So that's going to be my two thoughts. I'll get into that a little bit further on our podcast. But once again, I'm going New England Patriots over Seattle Seahawks. Thanks for this. Joining me on the special edition here of Super Bowl coverage of Showtime presented by the Man of Steel podcast. You can follow me on X at Man of Steel CJR and on Instagram at Man of Steel Nation. Lastly, before I go, let me just say this real quick and get this one foul shot. Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy. I'm not so sure that that's going to be a good mix working together. Apparently, they squashing things. Relationship is better, but I'm not so sure if I'm willing to trust when Aaron Rodgers, when he gets frustrated, he gets frustrated. And considering I threw Mike McCarthy under the bus, who's a respectable head coach and a good pairing together. I mean, nearly one of the winningest coaches in Packers history. I mean, of course, he has one Super Bowl to show for it, but this guy was on path to a Hall of Fame coach with a Hall of Fame quarterback. Should have done more together, obviously. I'm just not so sure right now. If you keep those two together, I have a feeling you're setting yourself up for a circus for this year. And it'll expose not only that, but how Art Rooney's been running things since Dan Rooney. Big difference. So those are my thoughts. Once again, I hope everybody has a safe and exciting Super Bowl Sunday. And everybody, please stay safe in this world. As always, don't be trolling, be rolling. I gone.